And today we're covering are the right people on the right campaign. What that means is, are your buyers now potential sellers, or are your past sellers ready to sell again? During our KW Technology Systems for Success sessions and over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about spring cleaning your database. We've been explaining the benefits of cleaning up any duplicate data, any redundant contacts, adding any missing content, any of that to generally get your database in order. And a big part of cleaning up your database is making sure the right people are on the right campaigns. So as you may know, and if you don't, you'll be excited to know, that the 33 touch campaigns are now available for 2016, and there really is no better time to clean up your database and those contact lists, as well as determining who is on what campaign, than now. So if you are not familiar with the 33 touch, we'll go over exactly what that means and why we say there's a 2016 version and why the 2016 version is coming out in April. So let's get started. Here's what is on our agenda. You all should be seeing our agenda on the screen. And as always, we're going to expect that you all ask questions throughout today's presentation. We'd love to see any questions that you have regarding today's content. So here's what's on our agenda. We are going to be reviewing current campaigns. So we're just going to take a look at what campaigns do we have going now. That's an important part of cleaning up and of ensuring the right people are on that right database. Now, while we're doing that, we can review the current contacts in the campaigns. There's a few ways we're going to do this, but we have to make sure that we are following the appropriate steps in order to make sure that when we're searching for them, we're able to quickly find them. So that goes all the way back to adding the contacts. Again, we have to do some cleanup if we haven't done this yet. So just be aware that some of the steps we're going to be showing you may not have available to you because you weren't following the appropriate steps when adding the contacts. So we'll go over some of those best tips, best practices, if you will, so that you can do a quick search for them. We're also going to look at what current campaigns do we have running right now. We'll then go into the new 33 touch campaigns and create a campaign, and then of course we'll add new contacts to our campaign, and we'll talk about how do we do that, what do those contacts look like, how are we going to determine what their needs are. And of course this is always interactive. If you all have some great ideas or thoughts on adding campaigns, different types of campaigns, we got some great suggestions during our technology community call. So we're going to be looking for some stuff from you. So don't hesitate to let us know, and we'll inform the audience of other ideas. All right, if there's no further questions, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is review our current campaigns. Now, your first task is to look at what you have, your current and your past touches. Your 33 touches most likely will be completed, so you're going to be viewing completed campaigns. In other words, if you haven't started a new 33 touch, it's most likely ended. All right, so we will be using the past 33 touch for this example. However, the process for all campaigns are exactly the same. So here I am in a campaign. You'll notice that we have completed campaigns down there. If we had any active campaigns, active campaigns would show. I also will be going into the live environment after the demo of the PowerPoint so that you all can see exactly this process. So what we did is we clicked on this right here, Create New Campaign. I'm going to highlight that for y'all. We click on Create New Campaign, and that's going to take us to our new campaign. And then here is where we are going to start to create the campaign. Now you'll notice on step 2 of Step 2, which is going to be right here, Step 2 is going to be the steps that you are going to be spending the most amount of time on, okay? So this is where we're going to be spending a majority of our time is on Step 2, because this is where we can review and configure the steps. All of the steps that are available. So we're going to assume that I now clicked on step 2, and I will be taken to the list here. Now you'll notice that you can review your entire open rate and your click-through rates. And this is really important because if you see a particularly high open rate, okay, if you see a particularly high open rate, that means that you have an enticing subject line. Let's think about that. When you open an email, when you receive an email, what is the one thing that calls you to open that email? The answer is the subject line, because it is so enticing that it is causing us to click on the link to see what is in there. There are a lot of times we are deleting, probably more times we're deleting an email because of the subject line rather than reading an email because of the subject line. So on the right hand side, let me pull out my highlighter once again. On the right hand side, you'll notice that you have the amount of pieces that have been sent, and it tells you exactly how many of those have been opened and then what the click-through rate is, okay? So that open is a percentage. It's an open rate. That means if we sent out to 100 people and 50 people opened our email, that means we would have a 50% open rate, naturally. A 50% open rate is pretty extraordinary. If you do have a 50% open rate, way to go, you keep it up. Open rates will vary. If you can get around 30% of an open rate, a third of the people to open your email that you sent it to, that's a successful campaign. The higher the open rate, the better. You'll also notice that we have the click-through rate. The click-through rate is the means that you have added links into each of the pieces, or into that step, I should say, into that particular step, into that particular piece. You added a link into that piece, and they clicked on that link. It has to be an active hyperlink, which you can, of course, do within eAdsMyMarketing. So we want to add links in there. These are what we call calls to action. It's going to drive the person to click on the link and make them do something, make them want to do something. Okay, so that's what we call the open rate and the click-through rate. And what I want you all to take away from this is, in order to get a strong click-through rate, you have to have a strong subject line. All right, let's look at now number 2, review the current contacts in the campaign. So now we're going to look at, now your 33 touches over, okay, it's completed. We have to determine if those that are in our campaigns, can they be moved to another campaign? Or are they going to stay in this campaign and we're just going to use new designs? In other words, the campaigns have a lot of the same message. They're not going to have the same exact pieces, but the message is going to be the same. Or are we moving them to a more specific message? In other words, are they a potential buyer who now could be a seller? We don't want to be sending someone who has bought from us a year ago the importance of why now is the time to buy. That would just simply not make us look good. So we want to make sure that they're on the right campaigns. So we're going to determine, do they need to be moved to another campaign, or are they going to stay on this one? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to click on add or remove contacts. And that's the next step that we are right here. We're going to click on add or remove contacts. Okay. So that's going to be the next step. When we click on that, what I did is I've just, you're not going to be able to see the contacts very well because this is an active account and just didn't want to share that with the world. But here are the eligible contacts that are currently available. So this is everybody that's currently available in the list, okay? So in order for you to quickly identify those who should be moved out of campaign or moved or stay in one that you're doing, you want to update those contacts. And we're going to start by clicking on status, okay? So we're going to click on status. You'll notice when I clicked on status, we have a little drop-down menu, okay? So let's say, for example, in this example, we're updating the right time, right move, and we're appealing to sellers. What we'll want to do is we'll want to check the sold status, okay, because these are sellers, right? If we did a good job of marking our contacts and we marked these individuals as sold, then we know that they are past sellers, or they could even be past buyers. So that's going to be the status. The group might also help us to determine what group they're in, if we are grouping our people correctly. So let's think about that for a minute. If we are, let's say we're appealing to buyers, somebody that has never bought from us before, well, chances are pretty good they're going to fall under the warm, cold, or retry options, because that means that they've never purchased from us before. They've never sold a house with us before, or they haven't bought a house from us before. And of course, as I mentioned, the filters, we're gonna mark them as clearly as possible. You'll notice right here we also have an option for the name or the email address. That would be a little bit harder for you to determine just by that. So you really want to work on making sure all of your contacts are properly identified, properly grouped, okay, and have the proper statuses. So we're going to say, okay, I'm going to find all of those that are sold, all right? Now, what we're going to do now, you'll notice that we have 13 eligible contacts when we did that sold. So that's saying now 13 people out of all of the contacts. So we can remove anybody that's here and only add these 13. Okay, so that's how we're gonna determine what contacts are going to be marketed to in this particular touch. All right, either I'm doing an amazing job of explaining all of this and you all are just completely getting everything, or it's going over everyone's heads. We're not seeing many questions, so just making sure you all are clear on what we're doing so far, and if so, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving along. Now we are going to review all available campaigns. These are all the campaigns that are currently available. Now take a look at this. We have all of these campaigns currently available. You have the 2016 33 touch ready for what's next. So that's both for individual agents and teams, so you can do that. And then we have the 2016 12 direct that also came out, and then the 2016 8x8, the key to your new home. So I'm just going to go over these with you guys real quickly, and in case you're not familiar, the 8x8 for buyers or sellers is what you would send to someone immediately after you meet them. So if you've had a brand new contact, you've had a good conversation with them, you immediately put them on an 8x8, and you determine whether they're a buyer or seller. You determine what campaign that they go on. If you are not able to convince them that you're the best person to do the job of helping them or someone they know find real estate, then we are going to put them on a 33 touch, because after that 8 weeks, if they're not convinced with the information we've been sending them, it's time for us to move on to others that may be ready, but not forget about them. Put them on just some sort of touch so that they don't forget about us and we don't forget about them, because part of these touches, of course, are phone calls and other activities. So take advantage of the touches, because they're going to tell you what to do, when to do it, not only that, but what to say. So these are the current touches that are available. You'll also notice we have touches from previous years. We're going to recommend you use the latest touches, but we have a ton of touches there available for you all. This is the brand new 33 touch, ready for what's next. This is a great campaign. This is, again, as we mentioned, this is going to ensure year-round contact with your Mets. These are people in your current database. It discusses interest rates, monthly mortgage payments. So during these touches, we have the ability to edit them and add our own unique content. And that's really what it's all about, in really taking advantage of some of those. The 8x8, not so much. You don't have to edit those so much unless you want to make it specific on how you met that person or where you know them from. That would be outstanding. However, that one is intended just to quickly get out and be aggressive. The 33 touch, you can take a little bit of time, create a really great 33 touch, and then send that to all of your contacts all year round. Or you could even customize specific 33 touches for specific groups. All right, now we're going to click on Create New Campaigns. So we're going to go ahead and just create the campaign. So we can access this directly by expanding the My Marketing module of MyKW. Now here is where we'll just bring in any agent's website and we'll walk you all through this process. So we're going to start by clicking on My Marketing. Let me get rid of my drawing tools, erase those. We click on My Marketing, expand the My Marketing menu, and then you can click on Create Marketing Materials or Manage and Create Campaigns. So we'll start there. Let's click on Manage and Create Campaigns. Okay, so here we are in Manage and Create Campaigns. We have several ways of looking at the current campaigns we have, our total campaign performance, and here is where we're going to create a new campaign. The brand new 33 touch is going to be the first one that is popped up there. So let's go ahead now. We could just click on Choose This Template because we're ready for the 33 touch, or we could look at delivery schedule, date-based campaigns or interval-based campaigns. So the 33 touch is a date-based campaign. That means it goes out on specific dates. When you add a contact to a 33 touch, let's say you add them in April, they're going to get the spring ahead email. If you add them in November, they're going to get the Thanksgiving email. That's the 33 touch. The 8x8 is what we call an interval campaign. That means it goes out in intervals. The first piece goes out one day after you add the contact. The second piece goes out 7 days after you add the second, after you, after you send 7 days after you send the second piece. The third touch goes out 7 days after you add the second piece, and so on and so forth. So once we are on Create a New Campaign or Create Marketing Materials, now we can choose this template. So this is the new 33 touch right here, and we're going to click on Choose This Template. Now that you have this template opening up, you'll notice here is your open rate, your direct mail, and your activity schedule. All of these are going to change as you send out your pieces. Right now, it will stay at 0 because you'll notice this particular piece is paused. Okay, so it's not even started yet. This is where we can change the title. One of the reasons you might want to change the title is to allow for recognition quickly by yourself of the campaign. Maybe you're sending out to a specific group, or you're sending out to a specific set of contacts. You could change that here. You're the only one that will see that. When we click on Review and Configure Steps, you'll notice that every single piece opens up. We have a little bit better view of what the pieces look like. You'll notice here we can click on Personalize to personalize the piece. This is where we'll start to add our own content, maybe add some of our own unique information, maybe our own picture here. Of course, our own graphics and our own information will show up at the bottom, and of course after you save the piece will be saved and will always stay that way, and then when it's scheduled to go out, it will go out that way. You'll notice you can schedule any of or adjust any of these pieces, including the scripts that come up on the activities. For example, this is a phone call activity telling you to make a phone call on this particular date. Here is what you say. So this will help you just stay consistent and also help you with your lead generating efforts, your lead generating time. I'm going to scroll up a little bit here, and you'll notice that we also have the opportunity to add a step. So if 33 touches is not enough steps for you, you can add a step, and the type of step you're going to add will be either an email, an activity, or a direct mail. You decide. When you click on that option, it will then give you the ability to add those steps. If you do choose it to be an email, then it will give you the opportunity to add any piece that is in the My Marketing suite. So you can add any step, any piece that is currently available to these touches. So that's step 2. This is where you're going to spend most of your time, and as I mentioned, here is where your results will live under sent, opened, and clicked. So I'm going to close that up. Yes, I want to continue. We're going to discard any edits. Please keep an eye on any of the messages that come up. Here's where we're going to add and remove contacts, and this is where I was telling you about our statuses. So if we wanted to just send this to anybody who we have sold to in the past, we're going to choose the sold status, and then only those 2 individuals will come up. Then, of course, we could also choose groups. If we had a set of groups that we wanted to add, it would bring up any of those eligible contacts. So those contacts are going to be able to be added. Let me get rid of the FSBOs so the solds come back up. Now I can click Add All Eligible Contacts here to move these from here over to the right-hand side. So I could click on Add All Eligible. They'll be here. I save and continue. Now those 2 are added to step 3. Now that I've done that, I can collapse step 3 and review and activate. The moment that I say, yes, I have reviewed this campaign and its recipients, I want you all to be sure you read this correctly. I want you to say, hey, yes, I agree. These people have opted in. In other words, they have given you their contact information in some way. You didn't harvest it at all. You received it from them. And then, of course, you can include a showcase property on all email steps. This is an additional step that is available through eEdge My Marketing. Once you click Activate Campaign, it's going to go and it is ready. It's going to take off 1 day after you have started the campaign. All right, if you are looking for specific instructions on how to get people on a campaign, on how to do a 33 touch campaign, I want you all to visit this site. It's kwuconnect.com, and let me take you back to my KW. I'm going to walk you all through that. If you are on my KW and you hover over the education link, and you drop down to KWU Connect. If we click on this link right here, it will take us to the brand new KWU Connect site. Where we're going to add, or we're going to do a quick search here. We'll do a search for 33 touch. And that's the only term we're going to use. Okay, so the first thing that comes up is Create My Marketing 33 Touch Campaign. So this is actually going to walk you through each of the 33, exactly how to do a 33 touch campaign, all kinds of other sessions regarding 33 touches, and then you'll have some really, really great scripts to follow, things that others have done. Look at all of the great opportunities and options you have regarding 33 touches. So that is how you are going to find training after today's presentation. All right, quick question came in. Ed says, if someone opted out of a 33 touch last year, will they automatically be opted in this year? Can I inadvertently add them back against their wishes? So Ed, that's a great question, and I thank you for that question. So if you have someone ever ever unsubscribe, if for some reason if you have their phone number, give them a call. Tell them that you noticed they unsubscribed and wanted to make sure it wasn't an accident, and if there's anything that you can do in the future to help them, you would love that. 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you, no, they didn't mean to do that. Go ahead and put them back on. So that's one thing you can do, Ed. Another thing is, you say, can I inadvertently add them back in? You can. You can do that. They may, give you a bit of a hard time without telling them why. I would just send them an email from eEdge letting them know, hey, I wanted to let you know I have some really great new information regarding the real estate industry in your local market, and would mind very much, and I'm asking if you wouldn't mind very much if I sent you some email every once in a while or something like that. If you don't get a response from them, if they don't unsubscribe from you, then they've opted in. So you can go ahead and do that. Ed asks, is there a way I can see a report of who opted out? And there is a way you can do that, Ed. Not necessarily a report. Let me see if I can find a quick way of doing it in my KW. Because everybody that opts out, Ed, is going to have a little envelope with a line through it. And if anybody is aware of how Ed can get to this list, that would be great. But I'm just going to go into contacts, all contacts. Now, Ed, what I would do is when people opt out, I would put them in an opted out group, okay? Because that's one really great way to do that. Let's see. I don't know how we would do that. You could also, Ed, you could also put them in the trash and do a search for people that are in the trash. So what I would do is I would go through my list here and I would look for people Okay, actually, Ed, let me go back. Let me tell you that again. If they have an envelope next to their name, that means that that email address is not working, that they've either unsubscribed or it's not working. So that would be one good way you could do that. When you find them, Ed, then you put them in a trash group or a trash status right here, right? And then you can do a search for all trash and then send them all the same email. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to stop the recording.